Hi, everybody. My name is Victor, and today I'll be talking about Excel. And I'll be talking about how you can make Excel more productive and useful for your needs. So let me start off by saying a lot of people believe that Excel is mainly only used for graphs, and you might be doing that in school, just creating graphs with Excel, but you can do much more. And when people say that you can only create graphs, that is completely wrong. That once you learn their functions correctly and learn all the secrets, Excel can be your most powerful software. Not popular, powerful, because it can do so much. It's mainly directed towards math. It can basically do anything for you, almost. So I'll be covering 4 very useful Excel features that can greatly improve your productivity on Excel. And yeah, so let's get started. So I'll open Excel here. So first, I'll be talking about borders and the use of borders. Borders are a very easy way to organize your information, especially if you're planning on printing your spreadsheet. Because if you have a bunch of random values on your spreadsheet like this, I'm just doing that. If you were to print that out, you wouldn't have these little lines that you see in between the cells. They're not there. They're just there right now. When you print them off, they'll just be random numbers there. So what you want to do is add some borders. Now, the borders are right here under the font section in your home tab of the ribbon. So you can just click here to find the default. The default's usually no borders. I have it on all borders right now. But you can click the arrow to get a drop-down list, and you get a lot of options. You can choose this, and then first you have to highlight the cells, and then you go here and you can pick whatever. So let's say you only want a bottom border. So notice how there are no borders on the sides. Well, this doesn't count, but there's no borders on the sides. A good one to pick is all borders. So if you want to create like a chart or something and just divide every cell so it's more neat, you get something like this, and it's very useful. A thick box border is also useful, just to divide everything. Divide your table from another table or something, or a set of information from another. And yeah, that's basically it. It's a really simple function, and it seems almost stupid for me to actually teach this, but it's actually a really useful feature that not many people use, surprisingly. So next we'll talk about merging cells. This is just a demonstration I did before for practice. So let's say this is really great for creating titles and headings for your tables. You don't really want lots of people do this. They take one section and they're spread out like this, so they have room for their title, right? But then you have all these other cells stretched out right here, and I mean, what are you gonna do, right? You don't want the whole section there to be like that. So what you want to do is use merge and center, which is under the alignment section of the home tab. There's a button called merge and center, and so you just highlight the cells you want to merge, and it will treat it as if it was one huge cell, and it'll center the text. So you can type in your title here, and yeah, it's great for if you want to make a table, and you can just add some borders and you have a nice table there. So yeah, it's another really simple function that it's extremely easy to use, obviously. So let's move on. Now I'll be talking about if statements. Now, if statements, these are one of the most commonly used ones. I mean, among people who know how to use them. Once you know how to use them, you'll be using them all the time. So I just created a small chart right here, and so it's kind of hard to explain how you would use if statements in a real situation. So I'll just show you. It'll make sense after I do this. So I'll put it to you this way. I came up with 5 students and 5 marks. So let's say they took a test, and these are the marks. And you want to find out who passed and who failed. And obviously, this 10 students, you'll be able to do it manually. But let's say you have a whole database of everyone in the school. Let's say 500 students. You don't want to go through each student and try to find out who passed and who failed the test. So what you want to do is use an if statement. It's a function that I'll just show you how it works. So before every function, you must put an equal sign for it to actually recognize it as a function. So I'm going to put if, because that's the type of function it is. Put a bracket. And here, as you can see, you have what you need to put into the if statement. So what you want tested. So you want to see if Jake's mark, which is in cell C3, is higher or equal to 60. So if it is equal to 60 or higher than 60, then it should say it's a pass. And this will be your false. If it's not, which it obviously isn't, then it would say it's a fail. You put those in quotations, bracket, you press enter. Now you can see that Jake has passed. So instead of typing that into every single one, there's a little box right here at the end of every cell. If you haven't noticed, you just click on and drag it down. And it'll show you who passed and who failed. It's an extremely useful function for just picking out little pieces of information you want to find out. And see, you always want to use these greater than, equals, or less than functions, because see, let's say Hannah got a 60. So if you didn't put the equal sign, then she would have failed. So those little things are important. And if statements can be used anywhere else, it's a very useful function. And yeah, so I'll move on to the last section. This last thing is functions, and functions will dramatically speed up your workflow, and it'll be very beneficial to learn. So here I have a chart, and I have a few values here, number 1 and number 2. Now, functions that, let me just stretch this out. This is way too small. So functions are probably the most important part of Westdale because of how easy they're used. Sorry, that didn't make sense. How easy they are to use, and how easy it makes working on Excel. And I'll try and cover as many of them as I can. So I've created this table, as I've said before, and each of these headings represents an important function. So let's say you want to add number 1 and number 2. So you always put the equal sign. You put these 4 are actually extremely simple. You just put this plus. You always want to use the cell number, not the actual number inside. You always want to use the cell number plus B4. That will get you your answer, which is 93. Then you can use the boxing and drag it down to where you want, and you'll get all the values. Same with subtract. You just equals A4 minus B4. that gets you 19. You can just drag that down and you'll get all your values. Multiply, you don't use X. You use the little star thing, so shift 8. And that'll get you your answer. And drag it down. Divide, it's a forward slash. So equals number 1 forward slash number 2. That'll get you your numbers. Now those are the easy functions. Now, well, I'll only do the ones that are under the add section. So AutoSum, basically these add all of your numbers together. So instead of going D4 plus D5 plus, so instead of doing that, you can just go equals sum, put a bracket, and you can do it manually, but and type it in. But what you can do is just drag and highlight all the cells you want to put into this equation. Close the bracket, and there you have it. That just added. I'll just add a border around it. See, the borders come in use. So this is basically the sum of all of these numbers. Now, the maximum function is basically self-explanatory. It finds the maximum value in the whole set of data that you highlight. So you go max, bracket, highlight your information again, close the bracket, and you have your highest value. Minimum equals minimum, brackets, and there you go. Count basically counts how many values you have. Now, this is a very useful function if you have a large amount of data. There's obviously 5 values here, but to do it, you just go equals count, highlight your information, and you've got 5. Average basically finds the average of all these numbers, so it adds them all up, divides it by 5. So you just go equals average, and do all that again, and you get your average. So you get the basic idea. Functions, it seems like a kind of boring function here. Like you'd think that you wouldn't be able to use these in real life situations, but once you start to organize your information and start to put this into things like stocks or making your own calculator with Excel, it ends up being a really useful thing. So that concludes my Excel tutorial or tip video, whatever you want to call it. Hope you've enjoyed it. Watch my other videos so you can learn more about other software. Again, my name is Victor. Thanks for watching.